everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. I'm here with Ron Placone.
Hello.
Ron, so it's been a couple weeks since we've spoken. It seems like Trump is starting to realize he's not going to be president anymore and kind of concede a little bit, but not full on saying it. At least he's letting the transition team kind of, which is important. It's an important part of the transition of power. Like the incoming president needs to get access to all these federal things, all these offices, all these documents, all the security stuff, all this stuff, right? So the first couple of weeks have been really just, no, it hasn't happened. So now it's been just about a month since the election. You know, Trump says stuff, but then he still claims he was cheated, and he keeps firing people that don't agree with him, even though...
Very out of character.
I know.
He's never done that before.
Never. It's never happened. He's just losing his shit. And then you're starting to have, like, they've certified the counts in these states now, even with, like, and Republicans in those states are like, well, we've certified it for Joe Biden. And he's like, you're awful. How do you see this? We have about 7 weeks till the inauguration, a little less than 7 weeks. How do you see this playing out?
I see it being a theatrical show for a little while longer, and then it will just be, just another inauguration in Washington, D.C. I think it will be very underwhelming because it's Joe Biden. No one's really... I think a lot of people are very excited to see Trump go, but I don't think that excitement was for Joe Biden. I think it was for Trump leaving, which right. I understand. It's a weird headspace to be in. Like, yeah, I'm glad Trump is gone, but then you're like, oh, and Biden's coming in. Oh, that's where my happiness ends. I'm trying to be an optimist throughout the whole thing, Graham, and I have not given up hope that we'll just abolish the presidency, and then it's a win-win for everyone. You get to see Trump lose, but you don't have to see Biden win, and we've all won now. Like, we all get something out of this.
That would be amazing if they're just like, you know what? We're abolishing the presidency. It's over.
We've thought about this. This is causing just more trouble than it's worth, really. We're done with this. We're done with this. And then let's not stop there. Let's just get rid of Congress. Let's get rid of the Senate. Let's just have a people's legislature. I know it won't be perfect. I know there will be a lot of headaches along the way. But I'm at the point where I don't think it will be shittier than what we have now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be hard to make it shittier. We'd have to really try to make it shittier.
We'd have to sit down and have a committee on how to make it shittier. Like,
yeah, how can we
pursue shittiness?
We have to really actively pursue shittiness. I think somewhere, too, there's a guy that has known Joe Biden for years that Joe is buying that guy a sandwich very soon. Because I have this vision that in 1988, Joe said to one of his buddies, so do you think I'll ever be president? And his buddy was like, Joe, are you serious? Joe, okay, will you ever be president? All right. Never say never. But Joe, here's what would have to happen. All right, first of all, you'd have to have an opponent that was just ridiculous beyond comprehension. Like, maybe it's a guy that's never even been in politics before. Maybe he's been on TV or something nuts like that, like Reagan, but even nuttier as far as his history. Like, maybe he had some bit part in a movie. He's just failed up his entire life from a handout he got from a parent. And then on national television, he tells white supremacists to stand by right before the election. All right, dude, I get your point. I guess you're saying, no, wait, Joe, I'm not done. Joe, I'm not done. There's more to it than that. First of all, you're not going to get through a primary easily. There's going to have to be some situation where there's this person that would be a transformational president that everybody prefers. So the Democratic establishment is like, whoa, we have to do whatever it takes to keep this guy out. So then they get 20 people, like a clown car of corporate hacks to make sure you slither your way in there. It won't be a real primary, Joe. That's what I'm saying. All right, I feel like at this point you're kind of being a dick. Joe, I'm not even done. Joe, I'm not even done. There has to be a pandemic. Remember what happened in 1918? Yeah, now you're just being an asshole. Shut the fuck up, Joe. I'm not done. There has to be one of those. There has to be one of those to where people can't even leave their houses, and your opponent has to mishandle that every way imaginable to the point where the only person on his side he has left is Rudy Giuliani. And every time Rudy Giuliani talks in public, it looks like shit is dripping down his face. How are they going to pull that off? People like Rudy Giuliani. It's 1988. I don't know, Joe, but I'm serious. That's what needs to happen for you to maybe become president. And now Joe's like, well, good eye. You called it.
Yeah, it's
my cat agrees.
Your cat absolutely agrees. Lucy knows politics better than any of us, quite honestly.
She voted 20 times in 2020. that whole thing where they were just like, animals were voting. I'm like, well, I can't. My cat voted. But she wrote somebody in, and she won't even tell me who it was. It's like one of her feline comrades. I'm like, who'd you write in? She's like, you're asking too many questions. I don't appreciate it. She does this.
That's what she just said. She goes, it's in a secret ballot for a reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, you're not ready for this, is what she said. She's like, you're not ready for the truth.
You can't handle the truth, Ron. I think what Lucy said. Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to a friend, I was worried, and this could still happen. I don't want this to happen, but I was worried going into this election that all of Trump's, the Proud Boys and the Second Amendment militia people would just go fucking bananas, right? Leading up to the election, especially if Trump loses. And then Trump, might say, hey, I'm the dictator. I'm staying. And I talked to two different people at two different great points of view. One guy goes, he's not smart enough to even think like a dictator. You know what I mean? He's not even smart enough to go, I ain't leaving. Second Amendment people, stay. He's just such a dumb narcissist. He can't, he's failed upward because he's not like this brilliant, smart guy. Like you said, he was given $1 million as a kid, 6 bankruptcies. He just fails upwards, but he's too dumb to even go, no, I'm going to, because to be a dictator, you have to kind of you have to be an ideologue, you have to have this like fervent, ideology that you're not going to give up no matter what, and you're going to make it happen and do whatever you got to do to make that happen, or you're so power hungry that you're just going to do whatever. And he doesn't even have that. He's not even smart enough to do that. And then a friend of mine who's Native American goes, yeah, these white nationalist guys, they're pussies. I'm not scared of them at all. And I was like, you're right. Like, these Proud Boy, and another buddy, my buddy said the same thing. He goes, these Proud Boy, like they're all talk. If you think about it, America is a pretty soft country. Like we haven't had to deal with any real things. Like we haven't had a civil war. We haven't had war on our soil since the 1860s. We had 9/11, which was awful, but it was, just one day, one event. It was bad. We had the Boston Marathon thing, which was awful, but it wasn't like bombings every day. There wasn't like we've never had an invading army. I mean, not since the 1800s, since the War of 1812. I mean, literally, we have no idea what real, chaos is like. And, we haven't even, the Depression and the Spanish flu, like no one's still alive from those. I mean, barely anybody's alive from the Depression. Spanish flu, nobody's alive from that.
Wait, isn't there that one dude? Isn't there the one dude that like he was alive? He doesn't remember it. He was like an infant.
Right.
But they found that like one dude because like it was a big deal. They put him on the news. It's like, you've been through both of
those things. And he's like, yeah, I barely remember. I was a kid.
He's like, what a shitty. He's like, I don't remember the first one, but I'm glad I don't because this one sucks. What a shitty stat to have. Like he should call up the guy who got struck by lightning twice and be like, hey, can we chat? I just want to feel better about myself. You remember both. You remember both of your shitty things.
But it's funny because I was like, a good point. I do worry about all the guns and these militias and these Second Amendment, but I think push comes to shove, they're all fake tough guys. They're not going to like go out in the street because they're going to have to. I mean, the cops, have been protecting white nationalists pretty clearly. We've seen that time and we've seen it on social media. We've seen shows like Backyard Politics. She's talked about it. We've seen that all over the place. But for them to really go, we're doing this, they would have to get into a gun battle with the police and the military, which they're not going to do. And honestly, like if they started doing that, then the Antifa type folks or anybody would just go, fuck that. And they'd come down on them so hard, they'd get their asses kicked. Like, I think they're just, they're all talk. I've met these guys, they're talk. And this person's like, well, I hope you're not offended, Graham. I'm like, I have nothing in common with these type of white guys. Nothing. I have nothing in common with them. I don't identify with them at all. These like Second Amendment, MAGA, Proud Boy types. I have nothing in common with them. Like nothing. I don't like guns. I don't drink beer. I don't like NASCAR. I don't, you know,
I have one of those things going for me. I do drink beer.
Right.
I know you don't.
But like, yeah, you have
leave beer out of this.
Like, I don't think America's amazing. I don't have an American flag draped anything. I don't have a pickup. I'm no offense to any of these things on their own, but like all together, I have nothing in common with any of these folks at all. And so, and I've met a lot of them, like even the guys that served in the military, and hats off to anybody that served in the military. But like when I was overseas, I met the people who were in the infantry combat, and they had a different way about them. And they never brag about it. And then there was a small percentage of guys would talk tough, man. I was in Iraq. I was in the shit. And anyone that talks that way was not. And they were like, what was their nickname was like, they were wire huggers. They just hung out in these nice, comfortable bases where there's a Subway and a Burger King. And yeah, they were away from their families and they had to go through boot camp. I'll give them that. But they're not the like salty, tough guys that they think they want to be that. And I think some of these guys, you know, they're all like talking tough, you know, like, and I'm not saying they're not, some of them aren't dangerous. Those people that wanted to kidnap and like execute on TV, the governor of Michigan, that's pretty scary. But if they really wanted to start some shit and they're going to have to go toe to toe with the FBI and everybody, I think Trump's going to just finally concede and they're going to go, oh, all right.
Well, here's the thing, you know, like putting it on Trump too. Here's what he does know and what he's always known. He knows how to dictate a news cycle. He knows PR. I mean, that's something he knows. You can't take that from the guy. That's just a fact. He knows how to do that. And I still think at the end of the day, he kind of wanted to start his network. And there's already been grumblings that that's what he plans to do. Well, gee, what better promotion for a network than having a martyr story or having a quote underdog story? So he's going to play this thing up that he was cheated and this and that. And then he's going to kind of use that to launch his network. Be like, well, this is the America they don't want you to have. We made it great for 4 years. We could have made it great forever, but they wouldn't let us. We can make it great here for $5 a month or more if you want a bobblehead. Like that's what's going to happen, dude.
He's going to take this $140 million he's raised in this fight the election super PAC, where literally in the like contract of the super PAC, he can keep this money and use it however he wants. So he's going to just go.
Right. Didn't that one guy try to sue him already?
Oh, it's so great. Some guy gave him $2.5 million and he's like, I want my money back. Like, you are now realizing this guy is a grifter?
I thought this was a foolproof plan. I thought, how could this possibly backfire? We all know that the best way, when you start with the conclusion and work backwards, that's the best way to go. Look at how great Russiagate turned out. I'm on board. Here's $2.5 million. I'm a fucking idiot.
$2.5 million for this. You got to be out of your mind.
No kidding.
Like, even if you got that laying around, like that's really for this. That's like, I mean, I think you're better off at least just putting it on a crap game in Vegas, like something.
Yeah, that'd be way better.
At least you get free drinks in Vegas if you bet that. They'll give you a couple nights in the suite, like for losing $2.5 million shooting dice. Like giving it to Trump is amazing. But anyway,
I spent $2.5 million on this. Rudy Giuliani didn't even pull his dick out like that Borat movie. This is bullshit. I want a refund. Can't believe this didn't work out.
Like, spend the $2.5 million on revamping Four Seasons lawn care. You know what I mean? Like, put some money where it counts, where you can really make some change. Anyway, like, I'm glad there isn't just mass hysteria in the streets. I know there's been some incidents, whatever. I don't want to be like, oh, America's collapsing. I told you so. I don't want to be right about that. I worry that when the economic thing happens, and hopefully people will then wake up to how the ruling class is the one screwing them over, not this party or that party. It's both parties. You know, it's not Antifa or Black Lives Matter or whatever. It's the ruling class is doing this. I hope people wake up to that.
Oh, I think a lot of people are going to, now that the orange boogeyman is gone. And, you know, I'm not saying Trump wasn't terrible. Of course he was. But, you know, I mean, there was still that whole like, oh, everything was fine until January of 2017.
Right.
We all know that's not the case. And now that the orange boogeyman is gone, I think a lot of people are really going to have to take a deep look at the system.
Yeah, you're right. I think people are really coming to terms with like how bad capitalism is and what creates an environment to where Trump can happen, what creates an environment to where there's literally people, you know, waiting in line for, we just had Thanksgiving week and the food banks were busier than they've ever been. And, you know, one interview with one food bank guy said, we've been holiday level busy. So the food banks are always busier during the holidays, right? And this guy said, we've been holiday level busy since March because of the pandemic. And then the holidays went up even higher. And so when, you know, the unemployment ends December 26th, when the eviction moratorium ends January 1st, you know, and maybe they'll pass some a little law here, but even an eviction moratorium doesn't fix the problem. It just kicks it down the road. So somebody who's 5-6 months behind on rent is going to, oh, great, I can't get evicted, but now I'm 7 months, I'm 8 months, or maybe I can pay down a couple months and now I'm only 4 months behind. It's like everyone's in a hole.
It's nuts, man. I mean, and meanwhile, it's like you see these situations where landlords are getting some breaks, but they're not passing it on to the tenants. And it is a mess. And even in like some of the forecasts down the road, it doesn't include any aid for people. Right. And I feel bad calling it aid because it really isn't. It's just upholding an agreement.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not like I'm so tired of the way, I mean, even just, you know, I was writing some stuff for Jimmy today and I'm watching these clips of Neera Tanden talking about like entitlements. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of that. I am sick of the word entitlement because Social Security in Medicare, that's not an entitlement. You fucking paid for it.
Right.
That's upholding an agreement. If you don't get that, they just stole from you. It's like when you go to the store and buy a carton of milk, when they hand you the milk, you, oh, thanks. Thank you for this entitlement. No, you fucking bought it.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, honestly, we got to break down these bullshit brainwashing barriers because that's all they are. A government that does not take care of its people when a once-in-a-century pandemic happens, that's not just a neglectful government. That's a government that's stealing from you. They stole from you.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens in the next 6 weeks here. I think Trump is going to concede and say, and then he's going to start his channel. I told you so. Biden's going to get in office. Everyone's going to go, yay. And then we'll get some stimulus here, maybe a little COVID relief there. And then we're just going to kind of, I just see America just kind of limping along, you know, and there's going to be a big economic collapse that they're going to have to throw a bunch of money at. The United States has printed more money since March than it has ever total combined. So,
well, In some ways, you just described the past 40 years, though, when we think
Right.
about it. America's going to keep limping along, and then it's going to get really shitty, and they'll throw money at it, and then the cycle will continue. It's like, oh, well, that's been both of our lifetimes.
Yep.
Biden promised nothing will fundamentally change, so
it won't. I'm so excited to see absolutely no change happen January 20th. I'm so excited for nothing will fundamentally change January 20th. I can't wait. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.